I'm Kelly Gilson, and I'm the Executive Director with United Way Oxford. It is my pleasure today to welcome Loretta Walters, who's the branch secretary, and Lieutenant Navy Hannon, who's the training officer of the Royal Canadian Sea Cadet Corps, and they are representing the Navy League and Sea Cadets of Oxford, and we're so thrilled to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
This is such a great opportunity to talk a little bit about what we call Woodstock's best kept secret for youth, children and youth who are looking for programming, for skill development, for recreation. This is such a cool program, cool programs actually, but maybe not necessarily well known. So would one of you like to tell me just a little bit about what the programming actually is with the Navy League and the Sea Cadets?
We're a naval-themed program. We service kids from 9 to 18. Our younger kids are 9 to 12, and our older kids are 12 to 18. Through our programs, we try to bring self-discipline to the children, as well as give them some self-confidence, a sense of community, a sense of belonging to their community, and a sense of belonging to something beyond themselves, their family, their street, and to keep our youth active.
It's really like all that wrapped up, and within the programming, they learn so much, but in a fun and interesting way that kind of meets their needs. And so I think one of the things that's really important to point out, what's the cost of the program?
Our program is free to the user. We fortunately have funding so that we don't have to put any of the costs onto the family bringing their children in.
And we are so glad to be able to provide that funding so that the youth can indeed participate, because there are very few free programs for children and youth, like recreation and participatory programs. And the financial burdens that so many families face today more than ever really is a barrier for kids to get to join a lot of things.
Well, if I can add something to that, one thing that you'd be very proud of is our cooking class and our cooking team. So once we get back up and running, of course, we're still dealing with some COVID outcome, but we would invite United Way to actually share a meal with us. Everything is taken directly from scratch. Nothing comes out of a box, because it's important for the youth to actually not only learn leadership, learn sailing, learn how to tie knots, but life skills.
So important, Doug. You're bang on. The impact of those learnings are forever impacts. Like, they stay with you your entire life.
My son was a cadet, and there's still meals that he learned to cook as a cadet that he still cooks now. So, of course, can't get to cook anything else, but
it's a whole other story. But I think it really does speak about, that self-esteem, that self-confidence, that partnership and being part of a community, right? That they do indeed learn, but how valuable that is, and so because it's a free program and because it's a local program, can you tell us a little bit about who are the youth you serve? Because they come from all over, don't they? As far as all different walks of life and experiences.
We service any kid that comes to our door. There's no real barriers. We're not religious. We're not ethnic organization. There's no barriers. You don't even have to be a Canadian citizen to be part of our program.
You are a fully inclusive organization that brings youth together to learn.
I want to touch on that again. The diversity for the cadets,
I agree,
is the community itself, and that is who we serve. It's not for the military, it's not for the Navy, it is for the community. And former cadets that I know are police officers, are teachers, are business leaders.
Our community leaders.
And that's where we go. It's not to learn how to lead, to teach, not work. The way that they work is they work for the community. Like when United Way helped us fund for the mental health first aid, it served a purpose and it saved lives.
That was such a proud moment. And maybe, Doug, you could talk a little bit more about that, because your volunteers, and this is entirely a volunteer-led program, but they responded to what the youth were saying they needed, didn't they?
Yes, it was actually one of our chief petty officers. He was part of our public relations. he came up with an idea, and he approached United Way to help fund a community initiative to bring mental health first aid to our city. And what that did is it actually gave Canadian Mental Health Association pause. Before we approached them, the training aid was 18. Once we got our message through to them, they have allowed any cadets across Canada to be 16 and actually take charge in their high schools, communities, and even families.
That's amazing. And I know that you've been able to share that not only are those important skills, those mental health first aid skills that they've learned important in theory, they've actually been really important in real life practical purposes for some of your youth cadets as well, haven't they?
They have. And I'm very proud of the progress that they have made and the people who actually took the initiative and helped get services brought to the people.
You know, we often talk about, you know, when we're making investments, we say to our donors and to our community, we make wise investments, and we monitor how organizations are using our dollars and the impact they're having. And you actually make those wise investments in turn in your youth.
Well, different kids come to our program for different reasons, and we do our best to tailor our program to what that child needs. Some kids are coming for the self-discipline. Some kids need that sense of belonging. Some kids just want to know the other kids that hang out with them at school. Like whatever their needs are, we do our best to work with them to get them what they need.
Which is wonderful and really commendable for volunteers, because it's not easy to be volunteers, and the last 2 years in particular have been really challenging, and yet you found your way to, even without being able to utilize the ship in Southside Park, which is not really a ship, but it's called a ship for those who aren't familiar with your home, if you will, in Southside Park. You were able to reach out to your kids during the pandemic as well, weren't you?
Well, United Way really helped us in that front. They gave us a chance to get a paid version of WebEx. Well, that led to people being able to get a hold of us easier and more constructive. It gave us the time to not just do a health check-in once a week, not just do it twice a week. It gave us a time to have drive-in movies. It gave us a time just to socialize and let them be kids at times. It took some of the pressure off.
Oh, you know what? And if for organizations that could take some of that pressure off over the last few years, because the burdens for many, including our youth, were high, and some higher than others. And so yours is a safe haven where there's lots of great learnings and programming and sort of future building, and that's all about the impact. You know, we say we want impact. I mean, your organization can point to so many wonderful stories of impact and lives changed.
One of the mottos that I always tell my cadets is, we believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself.
That's beautiful.
So.
Absolutely. And those caring adults, they really do. They make a difference. Another thing I just want to maybe have you talk about for just a sec is that this program it's a community-based program. There are programs because you have multiple programs within your programs, but there's no expectation that cadets who sign up today will then go on to a career in the Navy or in the military. So you have your learnings and you're based with a lot of that, but there's not an expectation, is there?
There is no expectation.
No, we serve the community that we're in. We want to build basically a better community through the leadership skills we teach. We have never had an obligation to join the military, nor will we ever. The cadets must be able to be free to decide what they want to do with the skills we teach them.
We want to give the kids a place to get together without fear or judgment, and we just use the naval theme as our basis.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And you know, you have been doing this work for so many years.
More than 75 years in Woodstock.
Wow. Now, is that 75 years at the ship in Southside Park?
No, we haven't been at the ship.
Oh.
No, we started out at the Armories on Van Sitter.
Okay, there you go. Well, and families can register. You do fall intake as well.
Yeah,
I mean, regular intake, but your program kind of restarts every fall, correct?
Yeah, that's when our big push is to get kids started in September. As they're starting school, might as well start your other extracurricular activities as well.
Sure.
And if you're looking to volunteer, even if it's only a couple of hours a month and joining our branch, we'll take an adult to come down and visit us too, because we need volunteers too. So your kids, volunteers, anybody can come down to our ship. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the best nights, because that's when there's someone there to get them.
That's wonderful. It is.
And it's a free program.
Yes, and that cannot be overstated, because
leave your checkbook at home. Just bring the kid.
It really does make the difference. It reduces those barriers. It makes it far more inclusive. And I know from a United Way investment perspective, that is one of the reasons why we are so heavily invested, because we know that it opens up opportunities for youth that may not have other opportunities. Right? Some will not. But it levels that playing field so that everyone in there can really kind of come together. We are always thrilled to showcase your good work and to actually showcase your cadets when we're having a real life function, because they are wonderful volunteers, and they are really the cream of the crop with just the best manners ever. So you should be very proud.
Teach a kid they belong, and they respect it.
That respect is so important, because it shows. They give respect, and they command it back, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you and your volunteers for all you do. It's a pleasure for us to be able to support your work and to invest in building happy, healthy, well-rounded children and youth in our community. It's one of our priority areas to invest so that kids can thrive and grow into really well-rounded adults, and your work is helping them do that. So thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
And I encourage everyone to watch for future editions where we will continue to interview and highlight some of our other funded partners or our community partners to showcase the work and the program and services that they offer, that we invest in or help ensure is available across Oxford County, helping to build a better county for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.